All right, world. Time to learn about restorative yoga, if you don't already know. Students of mine perhaps have never had an experience of me teaching restorative yoga, so I've put this into our club, into our tribe, because I don't know if there's anything more valuable than after a long week or more challenging time of day to be able to take this time, what you're going to experience now, and to be able to use, the power of yoga and the capacity that yoga has to heal us within the context of absolute relaxation. And that's why it's called restorative yoga, because it is going to restore our energy levels in the context of us practicing some very simple poses. So the purpose of this video is to give a workshop introduction to the poses that you're going to be seeing week after week in the class, because every Saturday morning this class will be filmed as restorative yoga. I call it the weekly reset. The weekly reset, okay? And because that's how I see this. I see this as a restorative experience. Our class is going to have some restorative yoga. It's going to have something called yoga nidra, which is guided relaxation. It's going to have some meditation. All of that will kind of fuse together to give you the deepest, I hope, potential for restoration of all the dimensions of your body. So basically, let's talk about what you need. Now, I assume that if you're just starting restorative yoga, you don't have anything that I'm going to mention right now. Now, if you happen to be lucky, or you're in a house full of yoga people and they got these things, fine. But if not, over the next weeks or months or whenever you're ready, it's going to be a good idea to invest in the following things. This is called a bolster. Okay, it looks like this, shaped like this. There's a few different variations of bolsters. But if it's something close to this, sometimes they're flatter, then that's going to be perfect. As long as it's called a yoga bolster and it resembles something along these lines, then that's going to be exactly what you want. You're also going to need blocks. I'm going to have 4 blocks throughout this class, so you might want to have 4 blocks. If you don't have 4 blocks, there are, of course, always ways to adapt and to use other materials. You could use books, you could use really anything. If you're creative enough and you understand the purpose of what these are for, then you can use them in any number of ways. You're going to need a blanket, okay? At least one blanket, and this could be any kind of blanket. If you have one of these yoga blankets, that's fine. If you have a blanket from your house, that's also fine. Just fold it up nice and neat. And then lastly is a strap. Okay, so we're going to be using the strap in several different poses. And between all of these things, we're going to create an environment of total support so that we can move into a place of total relaxation. Let's talk about the first pose. Now, again, this is just a workshop now, so we're just going to go through these pretty efficiently. I'm going to describe them, demonstrate them for one moment, so you have them and you can practice them with me in this setting, so that when the class comes, you're going to be really ready to really relax and not have to think so much about where does the block go and where's the bolster go. The first pose will be against the wall, and the way you start is you go all the way against the wall. So everyone, now's the time, okay, if you're here in the room. So you're here, and from here, you remember you're going to keep your hips against the wall, turn your body so your legs are up. Take your arms out to the sides, and you should feel your sitting bones touching the wall. Sitting bones touching the wall, legs vertical. And you should feel very comfortable and stable. So this is the first pose that we're going to be doing when we start the class later on. legs up the wall. Now, you can stay there if you want to, or I will also show you that this pose is commonly practiced with a bolster. So it's commonly also done with a bolster. If you're going to use a bolster, you're going to take that bolster and you're going to put it approximately 3 inches away from the wall. So we're talking about just like, maybe the palm of your hand away from the wall, maybe one hand, maybe like that, but just a few inches away from the wall. Now, you're going to have that little bit of space between the wall, and then everything else is going to be the same. So from here, you sit up, and you have this same idea of your hip touching the wall, and then you start your rotation. So you slowly start your rotation. You get your legs up there eventually. And the same idea, your sitting bones will touch the wall. Now you have a support underneath your lower back. So this is the same pose that we just did without the bolster, but here it is with the bolster as an additional option. Okay, so let's come down out of that one. This is just an example. We'll get back into it later. Now the next pose, there are a few different variations. Now this is a very commonly utilized set of elements here, where we'll go with 2 blocks, with one block lower than the other one, and then a bolster. The bolster placed so that it diagonals. Now the relative height of this can be anything. For example, if I had an infinite number of blocks and I really wanted to, I could double that. I can do anything I want as long as it's stable. Okay? But for us, we're going to use 2 blocks. So for our 2 blocks, we'll go with the back one will be the high one, the middle one will be the low one. You get your diagonal line. Now, the first variation of this is, assuming it's okay with your knees, is the one called Supta Baddha Konasana. Now that is, of course, Baddha Konasana, you have your heels together and your knees to the sides, and now you're going to lean back and let your palms face up. Now here, if you have extra stuff, okay, you got extra blocks or extra blankets or anything extra, you're going to start to use that to support your arms, so that your arms are also supported as their palms face up. Now this is option number 1 of Baddha Konasana. Now, additionally, for those who want to, there is another way of doing this pose with a strap. So if you want to use a strap, open up your strap. Make sure it's one of these real straps that loop and can tie together, because for this type of pose, it's best that way. So get your strap organized and put it over your body. So it's over your body. Basically, the strap is just, you're inside of it, okay? Open it up, nice and wide. And then make sure the strap is at the lower back or below, not at the mid back. And then take that strap and loop your feet so that the strap comes over your feet first and then under your feet second. Okay? So over first. Turn a little bit here. So you're here, and the strap is here, everybody, right? You got that? Okay, so you're inside of it, and here it is. And then make sure it's big enough so that once it's big enough, it will fit around your feet, just like that. Hook around your feet. Once you have it around your feet, now you can start to tighten it up again. Okay, and then after that, it's the same pose as before, where you just lie the back onto your bolster with your arms supported or not. Now, what I did forget, however, and I should not have forgotten, so we kind of have to acknowledge that I have skipped something that was important, which is the fact that more important than your arms are supported is that your knees are supported. So, although I didn't just mention it, now I am. That this pose is most important, so I should have said it first. Most important is the support of the knees. So as you come here, you're lying down, make sure your knees are supported first so that they're not hanging by gravity. And then your arms can face up. If you have the extra blankets and extra everything, then that's fine. You use it in the context of everything else. So this is Supta Baddha Konasana with the knees supported. Now, from here, there's another pose we'll do that's quite similar, where you will take the strap under your legs, tie your legs nice and tight, very tight, and then same pose as before. Lie back, support your arms. And so that's a really wonderful option as well that has the legs tied together. Julia, it looks like your blocks are wrong. The back one has to be higher than the middle one. That's correct. Yes. So you should feel like you're a little bit on the angle. And again, in time, some people might have a higher angle if you had enough supporting blocks. Now, let's talk about, we have a couple more to go. Let's talk about child's pose. Okay, child's pose, Kinder, we call it here in Germany. I mean, how many German words are in English, huh? Kindergarten. Who knew? I didn't know. Now, what we'll start with is the blocks down, one in front of the other one, and the bolster on top of the blocks with space. Then you're going to take two blocks. Now this might seem complicated, guys. On the first time you watch a video like this, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not used to all this stuff. But when you see how the class really goes and how slow it is, how relaxed it is, you'll realize that this is not anything other than just a very simple process of coming into relaxation. And with a little bit of practice, it just gets second nature to use these blocks and all this stuff. All right. Now, you want to get as high as you can on top of that bolster. So I'm going to use a folded blanket. It's probably true that if I had even another folded blanket, I probably would use that too. Now, we're going to lie down and bring our arms under the bolster and turn our head and look one way. The bolster should be as close to your body as you can get it. Nice and tight in. There should be space for your arms. And then you close your eyes as you look one way. Oh, you can hear all the sighs. And then you can turn your head the other way. Okay, and that's that. That's the child's pose. Now there's two twists. The one twist is just the bolster alone and nothing else. Bolster by itself, nothing else. Have your knees point straight ahead. Get the bolster nice and tight so your knees look like this first. Then the bolster is nice and tight towards your belly button. You bring your belly onto the bolster. Your hands are in front of the bolster. You turn your head away from your legs. Is it more intense? And then less intense, you turn your head towards your legs. Those are both good options. Let's do the other side. So if you are going to have your knees one direction, then you get ready and hands in front and look one way or look the other way. Okay, and so that was that one. And there's one that the twist that I showed you guys a moment ago before. Let's review that one first, and then I want to show a new pose that I haven't done because I didn't remember. So here, on this twist, you don't need much, just the blanket between your legs. Okay, so nice and thick type of blanket between your legs. You turn your knees to one side, your palms face up, and you look the other way or you look straight. This is pretty relatively intense, but it should be supported as you feel easy. Now very carefully bring your legs up, and again, we'll be doing this for minutes at a time. And do the other side for a moment and just feel that. Okay, so then those are our two twists that we might be doing. On every class we might do some poses but not all of them. Now look at this pose that I didn't mention, which is a forward bend. This is Paschimottanasana. And you can take the block on top of your legs here, or your bolster on top of your legs here. And likely you're probably even going to want to use even more, like a blanket. So you get nice and high. And then you can have your arms on the floor and just forward. Now, you really have to be high because you do not want to be stretching. Okay? This is not about stretching. This is about being supported. Okay, so do your best. That looks good, Julia. Nice and supported. I feel comfortable. Yeah? Okay. And that looks like this. That's a pretty good idea. I mean, that's really high. Oh my gosh. Perfect. Okay? Does that make sense? That's the forward bend. That's Paschimottanasana. Okay. And then the last one is the side stretch. Okay, so the last one in our little workshop here is the side stretch. You'll use your bolster. You will also have blanket folded in half. You'll lie down, and we also might want to have something for in between your knees. This could be a blanket or anything else. Okay, now you'll create a situation where you're lying on your side, your ribs are underneath the bolster's underneath your ribs, the arm comes under. You have to get high enough, so I'm going to even add a block into this because I got to have my head the same level as the rest of my body. Now with this arm perpendicular, this arm comes over your ear. Feels good, huh? Ugh. Okay, and then if you want to try the other side, you can just flip over and just for a moment, try the other side. The arm perpendicular, the other arm over your ear. Okay, and so that is a brief kind of description and little workshop into the various poses that are going to be found in the weekly reset class, which is based on restorative yoga. Okay, so all of that was restorative yoga, and then we'll be fusing that with some other kind of guided relaxations and guided meditations. Okay guys, so with that, if you can get your bolsters and your blocks and your straps and your blankets over the next few weeks, that'll be really great, because this class is going on. Okay, I'm committed to this stuff, and I'm going to be coming on every week and teaching this. Okay, every Saturday. Now I understand that Saturday morning may not be the best time to do restorative yoga. Maybe the best time would be Friday night or Sunday night. So that's why these classes are all recorded, new every week. If you want to do it on Saturday mornings with us, that's great, before the power class. But if not, they're waiting for you in the library, the new one every week, and it's recommended that you would do it Friday night or Sunday night if you happen to have that time available. Okay guys.